Can 3D printing help brass casting? The answer is yes. Casting with sand molds was troublesome every time, which prompted me to think about possible improvements. Care must be taken when removing the mold, but the sand will still fall apart, and the shape will need to be repaired. This made me realize that when pressing a model, both the cavity and the surrounding sand need to be compacted. Thus, the 3D printing mold with a wide back plate was born. I already used this method in my last show about casting the Moses tablets, but it didn't work that well because of my poor wood carving skills. But the mold worked really well. Therefore, using 3D printing technology makes up for my poor engraving skills. Let's take a look at whether the sand tank, made with the help of 3D printing mold, is easy to use. If using thinner screws, be sure to saturate the gaps with WD-40 lubricant before unscrewing. If you use thicker stainless steel screws, you can unscrew them slowly and firmly. It can be seen that the effect of using 3D printing molds to assist in making sand models is quite good, which greatly simplifies the process of making sand models. Later, I reduced the size of the mold to accommodate more shapes. But it turns out that it doesn't work every time, and the probability of failure is still high. Especially when the shape has a lot of detail. This prompted me to think about more possibilities for 3D printing assisted casting. I thought of a feasible way, which is to use cement to copy the 3D model and use it as a casting mold. In fact, I have done experiments before, and it was not very successful, but it was not a failure either. After thinking about it, I have gained some experience, and I believe it will be different this time. Here, I will show the entire process, which is also the second way 3D printing technology assists casting. Take making a musical note mold as an example. First, we put the 3D printed mold into the cement pouring mold frame, screening out aggregates from concrete. Add water slowly and mix the concrete slowly but thoroughly. Pour it into the frame and beat it to make the inside of the cement uniform and the surface smooth. Remove the mold. Now, we have to separate the cement block from the 3D printed mold. The process was initially rocky. I have used 2-cycle engine oil to coat the surface of the 3D printed mold, but it obviously doesn't work well. Now, we have to repair the cement mold. The hardening, drying, and water spraying maintenance of cement molds need to be carried out simultaneously. This is a very contradictory but necessary process. About 7 days after the cement flip mold for the 3D printed note hardened, one fine weekend, I started trying to cast brass with it. The mold needs to be preheated. Okay, we're finally done with note casting. That's all for the second method of assisting brass casting using 3D printing technology. I think it is a worthwhile technology to use 3D printing and then use cement to turn the mold to assist brass casting. To this end, I made several more cement replica molds based on 3D printed molds. I also gained some experience in making cement molds. After many attempts, I did find a pretty good release agent. Especially those lubricants that are easy to find and cheap, which are the best choice for craft enthusiasts. If you want to gain real experience, it is necessary to try it yourself. After many explorations and experiments, I have gained some specific experience in using cement molds. 1. It is best for the cement mold to be completely dry, and it is best to wait for more than 28 days. 2. The cement mold does not need to be too delicate. It does not matter if there are pores, just repair the surface. 3. The mold casting trough must be wider to facilitate casting and casting separation. 4. Minimize mold details from the beginning of 3D printing to facilitate the production and use of cement molds. Detail removal of lost wax method or open cavity molds. 5. Finally, and most importantly, don't forget to use a release agent, your big Vaseline. These are all the stories I want to tell you in this episode. In fact, in addition to these experiments, I also made some other attempts. For example, 3D printing is used to create such open cavity molds. Or this 3D printing consumable, PLA flammability experiment, used to experiment with lost PLA casting. But that's another story. Thank you for watching. See you next time.